Should I just cold open?
Oh, okay.
Just fully cold open.
Wow. Yeah.
But yeah, how was the convention?
It was pretty cool.
Sick.
Got to talk to a lot of nice people, and I don't know. I just wandered around and talked to people, and
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Did you meet anybody like specific?
Yeah. So I went there specifically for Dan Fraga.
Dan Fraga.
Yeah.
Who dat?
He's a comic book artist slash storyboard artist. And he was hired by Rob Liefeld back in the day, right out of high school, to start making comics with him at Image.
Yeah.
He was like one of the first few people to get hired. Yeah, he was super cool. I even got his phone number, so.
Sick.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do with that?
Oh, he wants me to send him updates on my art and that kind of thing, and he'll look it over and tell me, what I should do and different things. So.
You think you could collab with him?
He said if he starts seeing like sequential pages from, because my portfolio is just like pinup drawings.
Yeah.
But he said if he starts seeing sequential works, like actual story pages, he might have work for me.
Seems like you gotta just like do one thing and like keep doing that, I guess. Yeah. More or less.
Yep. So.
But, yeah.
What have you been up to?
No, I was just at a party yesterday.
Nice.
In the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
In like Cooperstown.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was sick.
Yeah.
It was oh my god, I can hear myself right now. Hold on. Oh my god, this sucks. No, yeah, but I was there and like I was there with my girlfriend, so it was kind of like you're like at a party with your girlfriend. You know what I'm talking about.
No, not really.
Well, like everybody's like dancing and shit and like drinking.
Mm-hmm.
Parties.
Yeah.
How parties are.
Yeah. Yep.
But there was some titties. She got a little mad. So this one girl pulled out her titties, right?
Yeah.
It made my girlfriend very upset. She was like, "Oh, I didn't know it was that kind of party," and it wasn't that kind of party. It was like a family function thing.
That person.
It was that person, yeah. It was somebody I knew, so like somebody I'm close with's coworker.
Oh, okay.
But it's so weird, like you go to your coworker's house and you're like, like you pull your tits out, and it was like early in the party too.
Oh, okay. So
it was just kind of funny.
Like after people were like.
No, well, it was also after that too, but like
Yeah.
they came out a few times, a couple different people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was her and the other coworker. There were two of the
okay.
coworkers that were there, and both pairs came out.
That's weird that it was the coworkers.
Both of the coworkers, and nobody else did it. It was other people. It was one of my relatives was convincing them to do it. But yeah, it's like obviously like my girlfriend wasn't mad at me.
Yeah.
Per se, because like
just the situation you couldn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's like
Yeah.
if someone's
Situation.
if someone's making French toast in the same room as me, I love French toast, but like, if my girlfriend only wanted me to eat her French toast, I'm like okay with that. And like, but it's like I'm still gonna smell it, it's in the room. I can't help it. I was just like, dim titties are out, so I can't not look. Dim titties come out. I mean, I was like 6 feet away from dim titties.
Mm-hmm.
What are you gonna do?
I don't know.
I mean, I was just like, I was drinking my beer, like, so say she's like over here, I'm like drinking my beer, and I'm just like, cool party. Just like,
Yep.
But
It happens.
So I was on Boob Watch.
That's cool.
Basically.
Yep. And I was watching Baywatch.
Sick. So you were on Boob Watch too.
Yeah.
How'd that go?
So at the hotel I was at, there was a bar slash like, I don't know, it was kind of like a restaurant, but they had a big bar in the back,
Mm-hmm.
And so I sat down at the bar because it was just me, and I didn't know anybody around other than the people I went to the comic convention for,
Mm-hmm.
And so I went there to eat, and I was sitting at the bar, eating, and I got kind of bored because they had baseball on.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't. Watching baseball in person is okay,
Mm-hmm.
but watching it on the TV, like
Yeah, unless you're like invested some
Yeah,
way, or like
yeah.
money's involved.
Yeah. So, I grabbed a napkin and then I grabbed a pen from like the little cup of pens they had by the cash register, and I started drawing
Mm-hmm.
while I was eating. And I drew like an eye, and it was for being on a napkin, just while I was eating, like sipping a beer and eating a hamburger. It was pretty good.
Let me see it. Do you have a picture?
No.
Oh.
No, I can do it in like 5 minutes, but like the same eye.
I don't have a piece of
But,
paper. Do I have I definitely have paper right now.
It was like zoomed in. It was like a female's eye with like eyeshadow and like the eyeliner with the wings and all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Great.
yeah. So I did that while I was eating, and then I asked them if I could get the check, you know.
Yeah.
And these two girls came over. They took my credit card, and they were like, "Oh, nice drawing."
They took your credit card?
Yeah, well, because
Nice.
yeah, and they saw the napkin on my plate, you know, and they were like, "Oh, that's so cool,"
Here, go nuts.
and they were like, "Oh, we saw you drawing, didn't know what it was," and I was like, "Yep," and one of them goes, "Oh, did you have any inspiration? Was it my eye?" And I was like, "No."
What? You said no?
Yeah.
You always say yes in that situation.
Yeah, I was like, "No, I can draw these in my sleep."
You were on Boob Watch. You were essentially on Boob Watch too.
Yeah.
You should have said
That's
yes.
what happens.
You ruined your opportunity.
Yeah. And then they were like, "Oh, why are you here? Like, haven't seen you here." And I was like, "Oh."
They said haven't seen you here.
Yeah, well, because everybody else was locals.
So they were interested. They were like somewhat interested.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
And so I told them that I was a comic book artist and stuff. Got my credit card back and I dipped.
What?
Yep.
They were just patrons at the bar?
Yeah. Well, no,
They
they
were
were like bartenders or
They
whatever.
were working.
Yeah.
Mm.
But,
Crazy.
yep.
Sounds like a crazy weekend.
Yep. Then the Jewish people.
Oh yeah, what did the
Yep.
Jewish people say to you?
They thought I was Jewish. They asked me if I was Jewish and if I wanted one of their books.
Oh, they had like little tiny.
Yeah. Yep.
How big were they?
I don't know. They were pretty.
Whoa.
They were pretty thick.
That's
But they were
too-
like tiny. You know what I mean?
That's
like,
very small.
Yeah.
It was
they
a
were-
Torah.
Yeah. I
So-
guess. And they had their yarmulkes on or whatever they're called.
Mm. Did you have your yarmulke on?
No.
Is that how they knew it?
No, because I'm not Jewish.
Oh,
but-
right. Well,
Yep.
you know, it's never too late.
Yeah.
You can always join the tribe.
I could.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm not calling them a tribe. They call themselves a tribe. I wouldn't do that. That's crazy.
But yeah.
I wouldn't say that.
So yeah, that's about it for me.
Sick. That's your whole weekend? Summed up.
Yeah, the convention, sitting at the bar. Well, because I sat at a restaurant alone. That was kind of weird.
Sitting at a
So-
restaurant alone's tight.
Yeah, so I sat at the bar instead the next day.
No, you should sit at a restaurant alone. It's sick.
Yeah, it wasn't terrible. It was just like the bar was definitely more.
You look like American Psycho going in to a restaurant alone. Okay,
Yeah.
just sitting there.
Yep. Yeah, the bar was definitely a better choice, but
Yeah.
Yep.
Especially if you're just gonna get like flirted with and then just completely ignore it. You're like, my work here is done.
hey, I walked back across the street, sat down, watched. I watched an episode of Bluey while I was.
You
drawing.
watched Bluey? So
Yeah.
you were in another state in a hotel room alone, and you watched Bluey.
I was drawing, but yeah.
Right. And you didn't have a sip of alcohol, or?
No, I did.
Oh,
At
okay.
At the bar, I had one beer.
I wouldn't expect you to have a bar at the beer, or a beer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not a big drinker.
No, I'm not. But I don't know. I thought I looked kind of weird sitting there.
It's because you only had one beer. That's why you thought you looked weird.
No. When I didn't have a beer, I thought it looked weird.
Oh,
So
definitely.
I ordered one.
Yeah.
And I ate my hamburger, sipped on it, and then I like chugged it before I left. Just
Let me guess,
so I
you
didn't waste my
held
money.
it the whole time? You
No,
just held it?
no, because I was drawing.
Oh. You're like the master of warm beers.
No, I had my hamburger in one hand and the pen in the other.
Sick.
Yep.
So you just had it, you brought a pen into a bar and you were drawing?
No, I grabbed one from the come-up pens that they had
Sick.
at the register.
Sounds wild.
Yep.
Boy, you were there for 2 days?
Yeah, yep.
Sick.
Or 2.5-ish.
Did you have any mental breakdown?
Nope.
No. Well, one of us is simultaneously always having some kind of mental breakdown.
Seems
But
that way.
I didn't either last night, surprisingly. I got. So Jake's not a big drinker. I'm kind of more of a, I'm not a big drinker, but I'm an obese man that drinks sometimes.
You were.
You're right, but we ended up like dipping out of the party early. I mean, we slept there like in my car. Like, we were gonna sleep in a tent, but it was raining all night,
Yep.
and we ended up sleeping in my car. And I brought my portable stove with us.
Oh, cool.
And some butane, and I just cooked us up some ramen.
Mm-hmm.
We were like starving, so we had to go through like a whole heist in their house to try to like steal one package of ramen.
Yeah.
But we were doing like a covert operation for like 3 hours trying to get it.
That's cool.
Yeah. So while everyone else was like partying and
You were
on Boob
snooping
Watch.
around for food.
yeah, that's when I left my post on Boob Watch. I was on MRE Watch. Yeah.
Really?
I was absolutely starving. Because, well, it wasn't just alcohol, I got pretty hungry. We'll just say that. There's a reason I'm an obese man. Let's be honest. But it was fun.
Yeah.
They were all up until like 3 in the morning. I'm sitting there at like 11:30 outside of my car, like baking beans over the fucking in my pot.
You got ramen and beans.
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite the meal.
Yeah, it honestly, like, I was sitting there, and, like, this sounds fucking cringe, but, like, I was, like, just sitting, like, next to my beans cooking on the fire, and I was like, this is really the best it gets.
Yeah.
It's the shit. I was just sitting, like, on wet grass.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you appreciate the little fire you have, and you're just like, shit, beans are pretty good.
Yeah, I was watching Bluey, looking out my window. I was 9 stories up, appreciating the...
I'm pretty sure that's probably what happened before the Las Vegas shooting when he shot out of the tower at
You was
people.
watching Bluey?
Probably.
Huh. I don't know, I was just drawing.
Didn't what's that one guy's name? It was like Elliot something. He was some kind of mass shooter who was like obsessed with My Little Pony.
Oh.
It just reminded me of him. He's like the incel king.
Mm.
Whatever his name is. It's Elliot something, I can't remember. But
Yeah. And I watched some Friends.
you watched Friends?
Yeah.
So you watched Friends, Bluey, and Baywatch?
Well, I watched Frozen 2.
Frozen number 2.
Yeah.
Oh my
And I
God.
watched John Wick. 1, 2, and 3.
Were you just watching movies down there? You just went down to a hotel to watch movies. You're like, I need to get away. I need to get away for the weekend.
No, I spent the whole day at the convention, the first day.
Cool.
I was there from 10 o'clock to 5 o'clock.
Oh, sick.
And then today I was there from 10 o'clock to, I think 1 o'clock.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
You got your money's worth out of it.
Yep. Yeah. I left a little bit early today because there really wasn't enough to see for 2 whole days. It was more like 1.5.
Yeah.
Yep.
We gotta go back to Lightbox this year, too.
Yeah.
That'd be sick.
Yep. Sure would be.
And we should just post all the Lightbox episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I just gotta kind of comb through them a little bit and take out some of those personal deets that you put in there.
There's some other stuff that.
Yeah, I probably
that
should.
leaked too, but
Yeah, I probably said a few colorful words
Yeah.
or whatnot. But,
But they were pretty good for the most part, other than like just a few spots.
yeah.
I thought they were pretty good.
I have a new plan for this whole show, by the way.
Oh yeah?
I'm gonna just I don't want to say I'm making statements for both of us, but like, personally, I feel like it would be easier to just do it and like make sure we hear of like we like make point of like the time on here being at like whatever the rough spot is, just write that time down and then go back and clip it
Yes.
But then not listening to anything else and just posting it.
Yeah.
And then, like, whatever.
Yeah, that way it's easier to not really edit, but for lack of a better term, edit.
It's so simple, but, like, I can't edit my own voice. It's so difficult. It's like you're biologically not supposed to be listening to your own voice.
Yeah. Yep.
It's uncanny. I can't do it.
Yeah. Well, on top of that, for two people to comb through, like, even if it was a half an hour worth of audio, that's a lot.
And you have to, like, hear it over and over again.
Yep.
Because, like, doing music, too, it's, like, I guess it's not as much to it, like, editing the podcast, but, like, you still have to, like, hear it over and over and over again, and it kind of just gets to you after a while. Like, I could make something that sounds really cool, and then, like, if I just sit on it and wait to listen to it until, like, the next day, I'll be like, that's sick. Mm-hmm. But if I keep listening to it, I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, yep. No, I get that. That's how it is for me with drawing, you know?
You need breaks.
Yeah, if I sit there and look at it for too long, I kind of, I don't know, almost lose sight of what I'm trying to figure out.
You almost get, like, too wrapped up in the details, I think.
Yep.
You kind of lose, like, spontaneity for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, damn, we're only 16 minutes out. This is hard.
No. But yeah, it's interesting. Going to the convention, it made me. So I talked to both professionals and then up and coming professionals, like people that have gotten like a few gigs here and there.
Mm-hmm.
So they aren't like completely just like setting up a booth without, you know what I mean? Like they're on the come up.
Right. Oh, so they set up their own booths, like people who are. So you could set up your own booth next time if you went to go.
Yeah, I would have to buy a ticket. Like you have to buy space.
You reserve a table or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Reserve a table. That's a better way of putting it than.
Yeah. You should.
Yep.
You should start doing that at these places, because like if we're planning on going out, like we are anyways, you might as well just do it, you know. Well,
that's what I was gonna say. So the professionals, they're at every Comic-Con, and they're established, so people know who they are, and they don't have to do as much work to get people to come to them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But the people that were on the come up, it was interesting to talk to them and see. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell, but I tried to talk to them about like how their convention was going, and like if they were doing good at the convention, and if they were there last year or have done other conventions, because some of them said that they were doing really good, like they sold a lot of books, they were doing great, and then other people said it was super slow. And I also talked to them about like how they got work, but as far as the conventions go, I was trying to get a gauge of how some people were able to get a lot of business and other people weren't, to try and replicate it. You know what I mean? Because there were a few clear signals between the people that were making it and the people that weren't. You know what I mean? There was some overlap.
Do you like? Is the difference like a body of work? Like, is it like the number of pages they have per like their main thing or for their main thing?
So kind of.
Like that.
Usually, if somebody had a book, even if it was the same book with just multiple covers, having that up was a good thing. And then also you want like stickers and you want posters, but you don't want, some people set up like on the table they have these like things in front of them that hold up their work, and so they're kind of like in a little like window. Oh,
I know exactly. It's like like pegboard or something that they put up, and they just tack stuff up.
Yeah, and like there's stuff all around.
It's like a trellis. It's like a gridded.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And those people don't seem to do too well.
Well, yeah, probably because you're closing yourself off, and you have you have to speak to somebody as a consumer through like a little window, which is kind of scarier.
Yep.
I'd rather have the open space.
Yeah.
That is interesting you say that, because I wouldn't want to be like. It's
Yeah.
like, have you ever gone to like a newspaper stand? I know it's kind of
Yes.
like an antiquated
Yeah,
thing, but
no,
like
same idea.
kind of scary
Yeah, it's
for
the
some
same
reason.
idea.
For someone who's not from the city, it's like, whoa.
Yeah, the people with a table and maybe just a little rack for their books next to them.
Yeah.
Just to stand them up, not like anything tall, because when you start getting tall, then it becomes that
Scary.
window. But if you just have like a little rack with your book and then some stuff laid out in front of you, they seem to do better.
Huh.
And then maybe you could have like a little banner behind you. You know those like stand up banners.
Oh yeah, it's like a little like flag thing that you set up. Yeah.
Yep. Those people seem to do the best.
Big "Don't tread on me" flag. Big.
Right.
We were talking about getting one.
Oh,
Yeah. We want all these Albany dickheads to stay off our property.
Gotcha. But yeah, so those people seem to do really well. And then also the other thing is the people, I've tried talking to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But the people that when you're walking by, if they would say like, "Hi, are you into this?" and be like, "Come on over," like they didn't do as well. Because I think
too aggressive.
Yeah, they were too aggressive. Whereas the people that like would just say hi to you when you're walking by, or like would just kind of look up at you and smile, they seem to be doing better. You know what I mean?
It's just like those fucking guys in Walmart that come up to you and they're like, "Do you want to sign up for Xfinity Mobile?"
Yeah.
It's like, get out of here.
Yeah, people feel the desperation.
Yeah.
And it turns them off.
Yeah. If you just sit there drawing, you'd probably just draw people in.
Yeah,
that
but
way.
you can't look like you're removed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because some people are so into it that people don't want to come up and stop them from drawing and like interrupt them.
Yeah.
So it's that fine balance of like drawing and doing something, but not feel like people are interrupting you.
Right.
Because people don't like not that it's confrontation, but it creates that feel.
It's body language too, probably a lot. Like you wouldn't want to be closed off.
Yep. Exactly. So it was interesting.
It is really interesting, like all the work we've done trying to like just notice how someone sits at a table is kind of huge. There's like a whole psychology behind it. I know there's psychology involved in everything that everybody does, but like it's interesting dissecting how somebody can like sit there at a table all day and make it work.
Yeah, and I think that not 100%, but a little bit of that would even go into busking for you.
Exactly. I mean? Yeah, well, exactly. Because we just want to sit at a table. That's like our dream job, is just sitting there at a table, doing our thing.
But yeah, I think some of that, not being desperate, you know what I mean? Like, begging people to come over and feeling kind of open, not being closed off somewhere, you know what I mean?
Well,
all of that. It's
the same stuff I think about. Like, I'm really into stand-up, and I like watching stand-up a lot, and I'm like, body language is everything and confidence is everything. Like, it's pretty obvious, but like, the guys who wear shorts on stage and the guys who are like, who say those filler words like and like.
Yeah.
I know I do it all the time, and that's why I don't edit the podcast anymore. But that's everything, honestly. It's just your body language and your approach to the people, and like not seeming desperate is just a huge thing.
It's really important. Super important. And the reason why I brought all that up is because, like you said, going to the conventions and stuff would be important. And I do want to go to them because there's some people that live on the convention circuit.
Yeah.
And they work like 6 months out of the year. And then the other 6 months they're building that catalog like you were talking about, so that when they go the next year, they have new stuff to sell, and hopefully better, whatever that might mean for them.
Yeah, it's like touring.
Yeah, exactly.
You tour for half the year, 4 months out of the year, and you just write and practice for the rest of the year.
Yep. Yeah, and they sell their stuff online when they're not, well, they sell it when they're touring as well, but they sell it during the off season. They make YouTube videos and stuff and post things, so that when they do tour, people know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They'll be more aware, and so they make a little bit of money on the off season, but they make the majority of their money on the circuit, and they actually, not all of them, but the people that do it well, there's a handful, in different areas. You know what I mean? And they do really well, and
Probably in merch specifically, right?
yeah, yep.
Because it's like how movie theaters, they don't make all their movie or all their money off of ticket sales. It's all on concessions.
Yeah, yep, exactly. And so, I think probably not forever, you know, but doing that quite regularly, I think would be beneficial.
That would be cool. Like, you talk about van life all the time,
Mhm.
and it's like, you could just set up at your parents' house, or like have that as your legal address just to
Yeah.
get your mail, or like have a PO box to get your mail, and just use that as your driver's license address,
Yeah, yep,
and then just go around. That'd be sick.
yeah, yep, and not really live there, but like,
You just
Yeah.
you set up shop, and you
yep, yeah,
Yeah.
just travel.
between the two of us, we could make that like work really well and cheap too.
Mhm.
Because I'm all about like the outdoor equipment and stuff like that too. So we could really make that work if we were willing to camp out a little bit.
Mhm. Yeah.
But that would be sick.
I
It would be just like touring. It would be touring basically.
Yep, I
But-
think the big thing is just like figuring out how, because I guess for me I'm at the point where I've got a little bit of a body of work. Of course, I could always build it out further, and I would like to.
Yeah.
But the main thing I feel like is just figuring out a way to make the merchandise, like you were saying, and then figuring out how to market it so that when we do go out and do things, travel, you know, it's
Mhm.
not just into the void. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you have to like catalog it somewhere. That's why
Yep.
like thank God for the internet.
Mhm.
I don't know what we would be doing without the internet.
Yeah. I don't know, but yeah.
Like, do you ever think about like if we lived in like the 70s or like the 60s, like if we were like 20-year-olds in the 60s or something, or in the 70s, like what would we do?
So, what Dan Fraga did, he was kind of an entrepreneurial, I say kid, because, you know,
Yeah.
he was young.
Yeah,
He
like
was,
our age,
Our age / like just out of high school. You know what I mean?
which is our age.
Yeah.
Because we're young.
Yep. But he his school had a local radio station,
Yeah.
and so he started a weekly radio show at a certain time. He would go on and talk, and then his school also had a local broadcast station on the TV, and he did a local show on that about comic books.
I missed that.
Yeah.
I used to do that at my first school. I don't know if I ever told you that.
Oh, that's
Ever,
cool.
actually. Like, I used to do a weekly radio show.
Mhm.
I wish I had something to talk about on that show. Like, I wish I was doing it right now.
Yeah.
That would be perfect if I could do a weekly radio show.
Mhm.
But
Yeah. But
radio's
it's-
fun, too.
Yeah.
Like, controlling the boards and everything.
Mhm.
We should get a radio show.
That would be cool.
We probably could.
Yeah, maybe. But he also just went to like every comic book store whenever they had any kind of event.
Mm-hmm.
And he went to bookstores, and back then he would look people up in the phone book and call them like professionals, you know.
Mhm.
And I think if we lived back then, that's what we would have to do, you know.
Yeah.
Kind of just get creative, and
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'd be a drug lord.
Yeah. I do think that is a problem, though, for nowadays. Like, everybody just relies on the internet, and it's a big thing.
Yeah.
But also, you have to, like, do other stuff as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You have to have like a balance too, because if you're also kind of like completely closed off from the internet, you're kind of just like, what are you doing?
Yeah, but if you're chronically online, I think that kind of hurts you, too.
It totally hurts you. It's worse for you than not being online, but
Yeah.
you know, it's just hard to like keep up with everything going on if you're not.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you don't have a smartphone, because like, think about like the Kendrick and Drake stuff. Like, I know you didn't follow that, but like,
I heard about it, though.
there were updates on it constantly. Like, they'd be dropping diss tracks on each other and like tweets and shit like that. And if you didn't have a smartphone, you'd still have to like wait all day to go home and keep up with that. And like by the end of the day, there could have been like 3 diss tracks dropped, and you would have been like, oh shit.
Yeah, no, I'm not even
keep
into
up.
that stuff. And on Instagram, every day I was getting updates from
Yeah.
various accounts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But now apparently there's female beef too in the music industry.
Oh, really?
It's Taylor Swift versus Charlie XCX.
I don't know who that other one is.
Charlie XCX, you know that song like I'm so fancy?
Oh, yeah.
That's her
Oh, okay.
singing the chorus. She's just like Iggy Azalea rapping. You know?
Okay.
But
Gotcha.
so basically, Charlie XCX released an album that was like widely appreciated across the community.
Oh, really?
She's also a pop artist, but she's like an alt pop artist, so it's kind of like weird sounding.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of more like in my lane of stuff that I like.
Oh, okay.
But Taylor Swift, the same week or like the week after that, released a British only version of her album, and Charlie XCX is British.
Oh, okay.
So she was basically just trying to like edge her out of the Billboard charts.
Yeah.
Or not edge her out. Because that's like something a kid would say nowadays. Edging. Skibbity.
Push them out. I don't know.
I was making a joke,
Yeah.
like,
No, I know.
edging.
But, yeah.
Ohio.
Pushing
I
it.
don't fucking know what. Whatever. But yeah, Taylor Swift's basically, yeah.
Yeah, no, I knew what you meant, but I didn't have anything to add to it, so I was like...
What is edging? Is that like when you jack off until almost completion, and then you don't?
Probably.
Wasn't that called something
right.
else 10 years ago?
It probably was.
I feel like it wasn't always called edging.
Maybe. I don't know.
Not that I do that stuff. I wouldn't do that. It's disgusting.
People...
I would never touch my penis.
I feel like with new slang, with things being on the internet, they hear, because it's all one-sided, like you can't talk to the person who said it.
Yeah.
I feel like they hear something and they create the meaning out of the context of the word.
Yeah.
And so words that they've created for slang have a different meaning than what they originally had. And it's like just slightly different, but it is different, and it's because of that, I think.
Right.
And that's how you get like weird stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
it's like my girlfriend wants to get another cat right now,
Mhm.
and she wants to name it Gizmo because she loves Gremlins.
Mhm.
You know that?
Yeah.
I think
yeah.
he's voiced by somebody famous.
Yeah,
Anyways,
but I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
it's killing me now. I want to know whatever. But she wants to name it Gizmo, and I just know that if she did that, I'd just start calling it Gizmo every day, or something like that. No, I would call it that. But what were we talking about? Slang.
Yeah, slang and how things have changed
Yeah.
with words.
Yeah. So there's jizz, and then there's also riz.
Yeah. Yep.
Crazy.
Mhm.
But jizz also, like, you know Star Wars?
Mhm.
So George Lucas, you know that song, like the Cantina song, where it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
da da da
Yep.
da da da.
Mhm.
So the band in Star Wars who plays that, like the fictional band who plays
Mm-hmm.
it, George Lucas named them Jizz.
Oh, okay.
And also the genre of music that they play, the fictional genre of music, is also called jizz jazz. I'm pretty sure.
Hmm.
That's a fun fact for you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like that or the word cap. Like, I wonder
Yeah.
where that like, it's stupid in my
Yeah.
opinion. But I wonder how that started. You know what I mean?
It's almost like a white psyop too. I feel like only white people say cat, you know? I feel like a couple black dudes started it and then it just caught on.
Yeah.
And now that it's popular, black dudes don't say it anymore.
Yeah, I have no clue.
I don't know. That's
I don't
totally wrong. They definitely still say that. I'm just not caught up.
Yeah, I
Unless
wouldn't
I-
know. I've got
yeah.
no clue. But
But yeah. What else? I had something else about jizz
oh yeah.
to say. It wasn't about jizz. Well, okay. So back to the George Lucas thing.
Yeah.
Do you think was jizz a word before that, or did he just like? Do you think it was parallel thinking, like jizz? It was already a word, but it wasn't popularized yet, and he just like he was thinking of like alien words, and he was like, "What sounds like jazz, but it's not jizz."
Yeah, I would assume jizz was a word.
I'm sure it was a word.
But it just didn't mean what it means now.
Dude, they've been saying jizz since the medieval ages, I'm sure. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm sure it had a slightly different connotation.
Yeah. Like,
But,
What if, like, back in the day, Marco Polo was like, get on the jizz deck of the boat? It might have meant something completely different.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah.
Or he was like, I jizzed!
Yeah, it could.
Who knows? We
Yeah.
don't know where these things came from.
Yeah.
I'm just
We
thinking.
could look them up, but we won't.
We're next to a computer. We're next to two computers right now. I refuse to look it up.
Yep. Yeah, this podcast is all about spreading misinformation.
Yeah, we're gonna act like it's real,
Nothing
but
important. No important misinformation. Stupid.
we don't actually do any research. We just
No.
see things for face value and we just talk about it.
Yeah, and we never talk about anything important. It's all things that don't.
Well, doing research is also kind of bullshit these days. Like, like, we say that jokingly, but it's also, like, true, where it's like, are you actually gonna waste your time reading about something, like, if a lot of, like, the news now is just, like, wrong, or someone's either just, like, completely making it up?
Yeah, well, because the problem is now, it's both a good thing and a bad thing. I won't say it's a big problem, but you can write anything, whether it's right or wrong. And I mean, you could always do that, but now like anybody can do it, and it can spread like wildfire. Whereas before,
And it's just part of culture.
Yeah. Yep.
Forever.
Yeah. Whereas before, like the book actually had to physically travel, and so it was harder for things to get around. But now, like, if enough people like it, Instagram will push it to ever. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, yeah, books were also so hard to make. Like,
yeah.
there were like a couple hundred books in like the first few years that they made them. Probably not even. And then like, just to make a book, it would have to go through so many people that like, it's probably more accurate. Like, nothing's ever completely true, obviously.
I mean, there were
but
fake stuff back then, but
sure,
it was much less likely to happen, I think.
well, that's like also the problem now is like people like take a lot of it for fact.
Yes.
If just because something's old, but like they were still people back then too. Like, people have all sorts of motivations and reasons to do things.
Yeah. Yep. Or even nowadays, like on the computer, it's kind of hard to tell with a written word if somebody's joking or not. You know what I mean? And so sometimes somebody will write a joke, and people take that as like a fact that happened. You know what I mean?
Well, and there's no reason for somebody to even like back it up either, because it's like, if they're trolling, they're just trolling and they're just making stuff up.
Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to trust anything these days.
Yeah, and it will only get harder with AI.
Yeah.
It's getting realistic.
I think like this might be a stretch, but I think within the next 10 years we're gonna have like robot companions or like people walking around with us, and like in 50 years you won't even be able to tell if somebody's like a real human or not.
Yeah. Well, I
sick.
think in probably 2 years, so before this particular point in time, we were, from like the 90s until recently, we were in the age of like information. Information was at your fingertips. It was for the most part reliable, other than like the few random people that would just throw out random like stupid shit. But for the most part, it was all pretty much real. But now with AI, and I'm referring to video content. Like if you
like
took a video,
fakes.
If you took a video of something from like the 90s up until now and posted it online, everybody could see it. That was a fact. But now, with AI, we went through like the age of information, but here pretty soon we're going to go through a point in time where like you will not know what is real and what is fake, and you will question everything you see, even on the news. You won't even know if like the cartoon you're watching of like Mickey Mouse was actually made by Disney or not.
Well, at that point it's like nebulous, because like nobody's actually really drawing Mickey Mouse anymore.
Yep. Yeah, you will
have
no
weird.
clue.
Yeah, nobody's actually going to be drawing the characters that are animated at some point.
Yeah, you will have no clue what is real or fake, and I wouldn't be surprised if pretty soon you question what you even see in real life.
Yeah, for real.
You know what I mean? It's gonna get weird real quick.
it's already getting weird because like if you see it's like the weirdest part too is like that you can deep fake something that looks like it's older and it comes out better than if you deep fake something that was like current looking because like if it's always a video that you see with like a really low aspect ratio or like quality and those are the ones that are easier to deep fake because like everything's kind of fuzzy. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you look up on Google, if you type in turtles and you click on images, almost 80%, and I did this not too long ago, when I was drawing any reference of a turtle and I looked it up, and about like 80% of the images on Google were AI generated.
Just to get a picture of a turtle.
Yeah, and they looked real. Like I don't know if the one that I picked was AI generated or not, but that's besides the point. But the fact of the matter is, most of them were AI generated.
Yeah. It's not even a matter of like if, but when they take us over. It's gonna be so easy. It's gonna just be so easy. And why wouldn't they? You know. We suck. Compared to them.
Not only that, but I think people want it to happen. Oddly enough.
Yeah. Well, and there's no stopping it either, because like we're already headed down this path. Like it exists. So. Although people say the same thing about like nuclear bombs too, like they exist, but.
Yeah, but I think this is different because, like you control the bomb, but AI. Not at the current point in time, but it will get to a point where you don't control the AI anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it controls itself.
Yeah.
It's like fully autonomous.
And I think that's the difference between the bomb and what AI will be.
Well, even like ChatGPT is like limited in that it's like stuck on the internet, but like it's already smart enough to like make its own decisions and stuff.
And it can interpret not what you wrote, like what Google does, but it can interpret what it thinks you meant.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you can write a whole sentence where, like, Google would shit out, like, some random document, but, like, ChatGPT can discern what you want from it.
Well, and it's, like, anything that's, like, conscious of its own existence is... it has like self-preservation, you know? So a human being's gonna do anything they can to like stay on top and like get rid of any kind of competition. So like what would stop something that smart from having self-preservation, you know? Like that's like the one thing it's missing from trying to like shut down big things, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I also do wonder though if AI, so you know how like animals can't think about thinking like we do?
Yeah.
Like they are, like even though they're living, they are different than us.
They're not self-aware.
Yeah. I wonder if we're taking some of our own preconceived notions about what highly intelligent life is, and imparting that on what AI will be, because there's a chance that AI, when it becomes like alive, will be kind of different than us, the way we're different than animals. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like, it's weird because it was also invented by humans too.
Yeah.
So who's to say what its motives are going to be? Because it doesn't want money and it can't really die. Although I guess it could, which is what I mean by self-preservation. Like, it's going to want to keep itself around forever.
Yeah.
Whether that means, like, masking itself as something not nefarious, but...
Yeah. But it might have a different... Because it won't have the need to do things that we do, potentially. So maybe it will have a different outlook on life than how we... You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, we've already armed it with knowledge, which is like the most dangerous thing we can give it, personally. But we can't arm it with anything that could actually like go after people, like unfettered access to the internet. which is like the most harmful thing it could possibly have, I think.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, so it's like this ultimate all-knowing machine with like all this data, and then you have that, and then you have everyone's personal information just uploaded to the internet, and like all of the data of all of everything that's going on in our psyche right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a
Yeah.
little dangerous.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to even know how it will work. You know what I mean? Because,
Yeah.
like, I don't know, it's not a thing yet, you know?
Yeah.
Can't even begin to...
I already feel like I'm like not the top of the pecking order though in like the ecosystem now.
Oh, 100%.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. No, 100%.
We're kind of like obsolete because it's like you could spend your whole week drawing the same thing like perfectly,
Mhm.
and then you could also just go on like what's one of Mid-Journey
Yeah.
and just like it could make this incredible thing that looks like Van Gogh drew it.
Yeah, I think the only thing that separates art, and when I say art, I mean people that draw, people that make music, any form of like expressing oneself.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that separates humans from AI, you know, a machine,
Mm-hmm.
in making art that people want, is that with AI, there's no story behind it. In its like process of making it.
Yeah.
Whereas like a human, you're kind of buying into that person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's gotta be some times where you listen to music, and I'm not saying you don't like the music, but you listen to it more because you like the artist than like the... Like, you like
Yeah.
the music more than anything else because the artist is also cool.
I guess there's like
Like
some
Kurt
things that
Cobain.
like wouldn't fly normally, like if it was just some schmo. If I heard it, like if Kurt Cobain made something that sounded like shit, yeah, you're right. But I feel like it's like, for me personally, it's always somebody who's like a legend, quote unquote. Like it's not like somebody who's like still. I guess there are like some living legends, but like for the most part, I'm like,
Yeah, but
no, you're right.
Even
You're definitely
legends, like, they have some music that isn't as good as others.
for sure.
And,
Like you
even-
can't tell me that the song "Moist Vagina" by Nirvana's like Beethoven, you know? Like it's not amazing, but like it's the feeling behind it,
Yeah.
and like his voice and his attitude.
Yeah, and you like Kurt Cobain,
Right.
and you like the other stuff they made.
Yeah.
So you'll listen.
It's
to
like
it.
in the context of knowing who he is and everything. You're definitely right.
Yeah, and that's the same thing with art. Like if you think the story of Van Gogh's life is really interesting,
Mm-hmm.
you're probably more likely to enjoy his art as well.
Didn't he fuck his cousin?
Maybe he could have. I know
Didn't
he
he?
cut his ear off.
Isn't that not true? Didn't he?
No, he cut his own ear off.
Did he actually cut his own ear off?
Yeah.
I feel like everyone says that, and it's like one of those things that like
No, he
everyone
did.
says.
He did.
What's one of those things that everybody says all the time? That's totally not true.
Oh, the Mona Lisa?
Yeah.
There's something about her shoes.
She doesn't have shoes.
No, there's something about like her shoes hurting her or whatever, and that's why she's like not smiling or whatever for the pain. I don't know. There's something
Oh, it
like
was
that.
a real lady?
Yeah.
I thought nobody even knew who it was.
Well, that's the thing. Like
Oh.
all the stories about like what could have happened.
They're
and
all
stuff is
bullshit.
Yeah,
It's a
all
complete
fake.
bullshit. He probably just drew it. Like thinking about somebody or something. Like, I don't know.
They usually did have real people in front of them.
Sure.
But the other thing too is like the background behind them. They usually would just like they would go to some location, paint whatever they saw real quick,
Mm-hmm.
and then bring that and put that behind the people, and then they would paint that person on that backdrop.
What?
Yeah. So, like, I don't know, it's real, but it's not, you know what I mean? And, yeah.
That's stupid. Da Vinci's a hack.
But, yeah. That's also like in Star Wars when oh, what's his name?
Jar Jar.
No.
Emperor Palpatine, Mace Windu, Obi-Wan, Luke.
Obi-Wan.
Okay.
So, you know that scene, I think it's the first movie, where he, there's that, like, real tall pit, and it's, like, endless, and he's, like, going out around the thingy to turn the thing off or on.
It's blue screen.
Okay,
yeah. He's turning off the tractor beam to the Death Star.
Mm-mm.
It's not?
Blue screen. Nope.
Is it a mirror?
No.
Oh.
What they did was they made that little cylinder with like a platform.
Yeah.
And then the rest of it was just like the wood and the ground and the set, right? And they put a piece of glass in front of the camera and they painted it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep.
I didn't know that at all.
Yeah, that's how they did that before computer editing was on. That's why there was no blue screen, because
I think he invented blue screen. George Lucas.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, I think he's like
before they used that. That's how they would do it.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there was the 1977 version, and then they remastered it.
Yeah.
Like soon after, then they remastered it like 2 other times.
Yeah, but the remastered version, they don't change. I watched the documentary on how they made the original 6 movies. And when they remastered it, they didn't go and change anything directly per se. They just, like the lightsabers, they enhanced it so there wasn't like a flicker to it and stuff. You know what I mean?
Well, they also like changed like the Jabba the Hutt scene.
Yes.
Like he used to be a dude.
Yes.
He used to be a man.
Yep. Yeah.
And like they put Boba Fett in and stuff like that. Like
Yep.
all these other characters in the background from the later movies, they like retroactively put them in.
Yeah. Yep,
Like you'd see like fucking. I can't name a single Star Wars character under pressure, and I've seen like every movie multiple times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I know what you mean. But other than like changing the characters and stuff for like accuracy in movies,
Yeah.
they didn't change like they didn't redraw the pit. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
They just did things to make it more accurate from movie to movie.
Right. They gloss over certain things and like add. They like added a lot of scenes in between. Like
Yes.
originally, they would just like have the X-wings. Like there were like the few important shots, and then they did that. But like in between those, they would add these like really beautiful CGI shots.
Yeah.
Like quote unquote beautiful, but it kind of like takes away from the movie if you ask me. Like.
Yeah.
I hate remastered things. It pisses me off to no end. Like, you can't listen to the Beatles music originally on Spotify anymore, really. There's, like, a couple things that are kept, like, completely original, but, like, everything else is a 2009 remaster, and it's like, I know it sounds quote-unquote better,
Yeah.
but I want to hear it the way they made it, because, like, that's what made it special.
Mm-hmm.
I want to hear it analog and not, like, re-glossed over with like the EQs fixed on everything. Like it just doesn't sound the same. They sound too good, or not good, but it sounds too like computerized, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I just hate it. Even with like movies and stuff too. Like you can't watch the original Star Wars. You just can't. Like the ones that people saw in the movie theater in 1977, you can't watch that movie.
Mm-hmm.
I own the VHS tapes of like the first remaster from like the 80s or 90s or whatever. Probably the 90s. I think it was like a 1991, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But
It's not the original.
it's not like the original.
Yep. Yeah, you have to go out of your way.
Right. Or it just doesn't exist.
It does, but you have to like.
Well, it's on like a film reel somewhere in George Lucas's Skywalker Ranch or something.
Well, no, you can
Probably.
go to comic book conventions and get bootleg DVDs of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. You have to like actually go out of your way and seek it. You can't just like find it randomly. Yeah.
It also bothers me that there's all these great movies that have. There's some deleted scenes that are available. Like if you go on Disney Plus and you watch like the original, like Star Wars used to suck. By the way, like it was terrible in like its first few cuts. Like its first like 10 cuts probably were just like trashed.
Yep.
And then I think his wife saved it, right, George Lucas.
Yeah, that's what it said in the documentary. Yeah.
But like, it bothers me that there's like all this footage that he never put in, because I think originally he said like he could have made the first movie like 10 hours long.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see that so bad. I would pay any amount.
Yeah, I don't know. It is so like in comic books. Have you ever heard of the book, The Killing Joke?
Yeah, there's the movie too.
Yeah,
with
yep, exactly.
it's where he shoots Batgirl in the spine, right?
Yes, yeah, the Joker. Yep.
Yeah.
So in the book, it was written by Alan Moore, drawn by Brian Bolland, and I forget the name of the colorist. But in the original book, the person who colored the book didn't color it the way Brian Bolland wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
The colors are kind of vibrant, and they use a lot of like bright orange, bright red, bright purple, blue. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And he wanted more muted colors.
Yeah.
To make it more like realistic and gritty, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then, when the book was getting remastered for its like 25th anniversary or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
Brian Bolland went back and recolored it, and now you can't find the original. Like they don't print it in the original colors. They only print it in the remastered way that
It's
he
so
colored
annoying.
It is, because it looks digitally colored now.
Well, and it's like, why can't you have both?
Yeah.
Like, why can't you have one edition and a second edition?
Yeah. Yep. I agree.
Like, it wouldn't bother me if I can talk about the Beatles one more time. Like, it wouldn't bother me if they had the remastered stuff and the original next to each other. But
because
it's like,
some people would prefer the 2000. You said 2000.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh,
2009 or
yes.
whatever. Yeah. Some people prefer it, but it's like,
Yeah.
you can even go on Spotify and you click on like Revolver, the Beatles album, and it says like, oh my god, I'm gonna sound like an idiot. It's gonna say 1968 or whatever when it came out.
Yeah.
But it says 1968 remastered 2009 version. And it's like, I want the 1968 version. Come on, I want that also. Like, why can't the songs just be next to each other, like on the album, the original and then remastered? And there might be like just the tiniest difference in like EQ or something, but like, if you're like an audiophile and you're listening with like the big headphones on, like the cans, you'd notice.
Mm-hmm.
You notice little things because like why else would you change it?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. That's how I feel about the comic book, because it also, I don't think, would bother me as much if he recolored it using the techniques that were available back then.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense or not, but like,
No, totally.
he colored it digitally with the tools that we have now, and it makes it look more like a modern comic book, which is fine. I like modern comic books, but there's something about knowing that it was made back then where you want it to feel like
Yeah.
a book that was made back. You know what I mean?
Especially color too. Like color's such a timely thing, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like you go back in like the 50s and you think of like the brightly colored like pastel diner colors, and then like the 60s are like deep like hippie colors.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. And I don't know, it's not the same.
Yeah, definitely not the same.
Yeah. And I mean, I would still want the original colored version, but if he colored it using the tools that they had back then, it might not bother me as much.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just not the same, and it sounds like it's the same thing that you have with like the music and stuff for the Beatles, and we've both noticed it in movies and stuff. It's weird.
Well, especially since they're all dead too.
Yeah.
Like, I could want to listen to like Jim Croce, and he was, I mean, he had a guy play guitar with him, but it's like it's just his music that he wrote, and it's like he's not even around to have a say in it. It's just his estate, like his stupid ass kid.
Mm-hmm.
I like his son actually a lot. AJ Croce's cool, but whatever. Oh, we're almost at an hour. We have 45 seconds.
Okay.
We've got to spit out something good.
Yeah, my name is Jake Lasher, if I didn't say it. I'm a comic book artist. Look me up at Jake Lasher Art for news about my comic books. Willis?
I'm not telling you my name or anything about me.
Okay.
Okay, wait. I have the.
His name's Willis.
Stop! Don't do this
Willis
again.
Records.
Don't tell him where I work.
I didn't. I just
Oh,
said
okay.
Willis at Willis
No, I know.
Records.
I'm just protecting myself. I'm 6'2". I have a big dick. I'm white.
Fat.
I'm fat. Yeah. Okay. We're gonna let it go exactly to the second